We are continuing the second case of the second game, and bit of a curveball thrown at us. Looks like we're going to be recreating the crime scene, so I'm thinking we're going to use Kay's gadget. Gavel seems to be thinking that the boxer dude was working with Simeon Saint. We think he was working with Canis. But then there's a third option, I think, which is neither. And I guess we'll figure it out here. First Ace Attorney playthrough of 2025. Here we are again. Let's hope we can find something this time that will reveal, finally, the truth behind it all. Although that might be easier said than done. There's nothing left to investigate. Judge Gavel's deduction yesterday. Yeah, the new thing about the well was interesting. And
We should be investigating why the circus is allowed to come perform at the jail. I'm just got some questions.
Yeah, I got some questions about that. The answer to that question will surely show us the way forward. But before we begin, I should tidy up my organizer a little bit. Let's see here. Huh, there's a cover on it. Oh yeah, this is the cover with the lock on it. I dried up, well, slap bang in the middle of a prison. Figures would be locked. Well, luckily I'm a master lock picker. Want me to do my stuff? I think not. We'll do this investigation by the book. Come on, don't be such a stick in the mud. What is it, Kay? The lock's broken, and from the looks of it, it's been broken for a long time. If that's the case, then anyone could have thrown Knight's body down the well. Judge Gavel's theory was that Mr. Saint carried out the murder here in the yard. And then during the performance, he threw the body down the well. What are you thinking, Miles Sereno? Plausible or no? Oh, why don't we see if Missile can help us out again? He'll be able to tell us if Mr. Knight's body was here and which way it went. Good idea. I'll call Detective Gumshoe. Gumshoe speaking. Detective, I need your assistance. Come to the prison yard and bring Missile with you. You bet, sir. Gumshoe's 7 secret weapons to the rescue again, huh? I'm fairly sure Missile belongs to the precinct. I'd also like you to bring one of our witnesses. Call the Berry Big Circus and ask Miss Regina Berry to come down here with you. Yes, sir. I'll be there before you know it. So, what shall we do while we're waiting for Gummy? How about a quick game of hide-and-go-seek? Fun idea, kiddo, but where exactly would we hide? He's not seriously considering it. Your game can wait, Kay. You need to call on one of your more practical skills. I think you know the one. Oh, you bet I do. One crime scene recreation coming right up. Say what now? Let me show you. Introducing a great thief's great secret weapon, Little Thief. Whoa, screens appear from thin air. This is some next level tech, little sis. Want to talk me through the deets? What are you doing now? I'm inputting everything we need for the simulation. Allow me to explain. This is Mr. Thief. It's a device that can recreate crime scenes at specific moments in time based on the data you feed it. How about I start us off with a recreation of what the yard looked like yesterday? Good idea. That was when they were in the middle of tearing down the stage. We didn't pay much attention to the well then. Who knows, we may have overlooked something. Leave it to me. I'll use the photo I took. Beepity beep boop beep. That's all the data. Just gotta pump the projection power to max, and dark skies of evening when no other bird dares take wing, one alone remains all-seeing. Now witness the true power of a real modern-day Robin Hood. The eyes, what is this? It's a recreation of how things were yesterday, modeled on the data I gave Little Thief. This gadget was a tool used by the original Yatagarasu. But they used it to plan robberies. Well, there's no harm in using it for something on the right side of the law now. Oh, but keep in mind that it can only recreate what you tell it to. It can't simulate things it doesn't have data for, and if the data itself contains mistakes, then you'll wind up with those same mistakes in the recreation, too. But this particular recreation is based on case photos, so we shouldn't run into any problems. That's enough preamble. Shall we get started? Don't forget, you can examine stuff in the recreation, just like in real life. You could also present evidence to clear up any inconsistencies you find. Of course, thank you for the reminder. Now let's take a look at that well. I remember we looked at it. We should examine this area carefully. It might just hold the clue we need. The well was behind the stage, which means there aren't many people who could have thrown Knight's body down it during the show. This is looking worse and worse for Mr. Saint.
But is it like a wet one? Or, like, because he doesn't look like he's been drunk. Ooh.
Like, as far as, like, water down there? Not sure. The answer is no, Kay. What? I didn't even say anything yet. I see it also has a metal stake attached to one end. Oh yeah, it looks like something you'd use to put up a tent. But there was no tent, was there? In which case, what was it used for? What are a bunch of pulleys doing here? They don't seem to be well pulleys for lifting buckets. It's a metal weight of some kind. It looks like it weighs... The projection makes it a little tricky to read. Do you remember how heavy it was, Kay? It's 30 pounds. Sure it was, 30 pounds. What does anyone need such a heavy weight for, anyway? It doesn't seem related to the circus show, at any rate. So what do you think all the stuff around the well was used for? I can't see any of the animals needing them for their part of the performance. Indeed. Nothing immediately strikes me as a likely purpose. We'll have to ask Miss Berry later. What was the name of our trunk-happy friend again? Isaiah the Asian Elephant. Of course, how could I forget? Not exactly inspired, though, is it? Was Miss Berry having an off day when she came up with it? Oh my gosh, Mr. Edgeworth, not in front of the poor elephant herself. I suspect that's all about there is to find for now. Detective Gumshoe should be here soon, too. Okay, you can power down Mr. Thief now. Sure thing. Prepare to return to normality. It's pretty easy. Sorry, sir, I came as quick as I could. That must be Gumshoe. Ah, speak of the devil. Ah, detective. That was indeed impressively quick. You know me, sir. Never did like to keep you waiting. Thanks for coming all this way too, Regina. No problem. This seems way more fun than rehearsal, so I ditched them for the day. It's very much appreciated. Alright, detective, let's get started with Missile. Yes, sir. Hey, Missile! Over here, boy. Oh, why is he looking so angry? What's wrong with him? Looks like he's scared of something, sir.
Oh, the alligator.
Eek! Alligator. Guess he's not a fan, sir. Well, I doubt he'll be of much help to us like this. Any other bright ideas, Miles Sereno? Yes, actually. Miss Berry, would you mind lending us a hand? Oh, I'd love to. Just tell me what you need. Do you want me to teach quite like that? I'd simply like an account of what the yard looked like during the show. I like where this is going. You're thinking of using Little Thief again, am I right? If you'd be so kind. You know, maybe for next Halloween you could dress up as Regina.
Okay.
Yeah. Here you go. This is what the yard was like during the show. Why is the well all staticky and fuzzy? Oh wow, this is so amazing. It's like magic. No magic here, just sweet, sweet data. Which is why, the area behind the stage is missing. Yeah, Regina said she wasn't involved in getting the stage set up. So we don't have any data on what it was like back there. No data, no simulation. Ah, brutal. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's all because I let Simeon do everything by himself. Oh, no, it's all my frilly associate's fault. Objection, Fender. Anyway, we got a fresh simulation now, but we still have the other data, too. I can switch back whenever you want to... the recreation of them taking down the stage. So we can examine the scene both during and after the show. And switch between the two at will. I can switch between recreations by using Triangle to talk with Kay. Now then, let's continue our investigation, shall we? Okay. First, let me talk to her. So, do you come to visit the prison often, Regina? I sure do. I have so many little friends here. It's wonderful. And they're all such sweeties, the old faces and the new. I made a new friend only yesterday. Allie is just the cutest. Cute? That full-grown alligator lurking in the depths of the pond? Are you sure about that? You can't help worrying you could just walk up and then chomp, you know? Oh, don't be silly. She'd never do anything like that. Especially since she's not doing great. I heard she hasn't been herself since yesterday. I'm so worried about her. You guys are worried too, right? Right? Yeah, totally. Super worried, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, super. Don't rope me into this. Probably has something to do with the case somehow.
Date evidence.
Yeah, like something like that. Poor little guy's scared out of his skin. There are more typos in this game than I'm used to. Okay, so this is Simeon. A story of forbidden love between a tiger and an elephant. Wish I could have seen it. Wish I could have seen Simeon up there on that stage, too. Oh, he was wonderful. The way he flew off that stage. Ah, yes, that scene. And you're saying the crime took place during that time. Roughly how long would you say Mr. Saint was off stage for, Miss Berry? Let's see. I guess it was around 15 minutes. Just as Judge Cavell said. Isn't it pretty hairy, health and safety-wise, having an elephant fling a guy off the stage? Not at all. Azay's very gentle. I'm not sure it changes much if she flings him gently or roughly. Too gentle, in fact. When we first rehearsed it, she barely nudged him. But by the end, he was flying off that stage. Not because of Azay, though. Simeon had figured out some kind of trick, apparently. Isn't that amazing? Oh. A trick? Do you have any idea what kind of trick? Who, me? Oh no, it was Simeon's big thing. I wouldn't know where to start. We might be able to... Let's see if you're right. Nice! The trick Mr. Saint performed for his big scene could have something to do with the items found in the well, by the well. Okay, I'd like to have another look at the equipment around the well from yesterday. Can you have Mr. Thief bring up the recreation from when they were tearing down the stage? You got it. Taking another look at these items, Could they not have been used for this trick of Mr. Saint's? Sounds plausible enough. Hey, maybe I could add it to the simulation. Good idea. Please go and ask Mr. Saint for the details. Roger that, I'll be right back. I'm back, and he told me exactly how he did it. Excellent. Well, how does it work? He said he used the pulley at the top of the well to suspend a heavy weight from a rope, and lowered that down into the well. The other end of the rope went through 2 more pulleys, and was tied around his body. I see, so he used the downward pull of the weight to help him launch himself into the air. But how did he make sure the weight only dropped when he wanted it to? He used the stake to stop it, that's how. Miss Berry didn't seem to know anything about the trick or the contraption he built for it. In which case, I suppose it must have been Mr. Saint himself who pulled out the stake. That's right, and to do that, he used a second length of rope. He tied it to the stake, and then, when he gave it a sharp tug, the stake was released and the weight dropped down the well. It's a great trick. I have to steal it. This one has to go in the Great Thief's repertoire. It may not be quite that easy. These kind of circus tricks can require years of practice to master. Simply stealing the idea won't be enough. Alright, practice it is then. Well, before we go on away to do so, would you mind updating the simulation? Alright, then we can see how it all worked for ourselves. Okay, I'm switching back to the recreation of the performance. And now to add in the data. Little Thief should be able to reproduce the trick now. So this is how Mr. Saint performed the trick. Simeon's full of surprises, huh? I mean, dropping a weight down a well to help him fly off the stage like that, that's genius. Indeed, but I imagine he would have needed quite a lot of weight, more than him at the very least. It would have taken some serious pull to lift him into the air like that.
You're saying he did it with only 40 pounds.
Yeah. So... it would have... So was the body the weight? But then what would he have used? Also, this card actually has stuff in it now. The basket was empty in the other recreation. Oh yeah, but it was definitely empty in the photo I took too. Oops, sorry, I made a mistake when I was filling you in earlier. Holding Azae's food, but on the morning of the show, all the apples that were in it had vanished. Poof! Totally forgot to mention it. Sorry! Disappearing apples. I should make a note of this. Great Thief's great secret weapon. Color me intrigued, Miles Sereno. Not exactly by the book stuff, though, yeah? Using Great Thief doodads in an official investigation. Well, enough with the deaths there, Chief. I'm cool, okay? I can keep a secret. Anything for the truth, am I right? It's possible that vital evidence has already been destroyed. Without case reproduction of the scene, we have no hopes of finding it. Hey, relax. Like I said, I'll just zip it and nod politely when you cats do your thing. Thank you, that would be very helpful. This pond is home to Warden Lagarde's beloved alligator. And look, those bones must be from her latest meal. I somehow doubt an alligator could pick a carcass clean like that. You think? I got the feeling she was rather ladylike in her own way, actually. If you say so. Well, I do. I kind of have a sixth sense for these things. An interesting talent, though not one I'm particularly envious of. The chairs are lined up neatly for the show, though we know there were a few empty seats during the performance. Something about this space, the way the seats are arranged. It reminds me of a karaoke contest I entered as a kid. You went to the karaoke contest? I sure did, and I came in second. Even in the depths of night, when no other bird dares to take flight, one alone soars to shine the light of righteousness on the world's blight. Tell me you didn't actually sing that. I sure did. She did well to take second place, or perhaps stole is more apt. Or is it more that she failed to steal in the first place? Or first place? I'm overthinking this. Don't say a word, sir. I know just what you're looking for. It's written all over your face. It is? Missile may be temporarily out of action, but my fishing rod is good to go whenever you need it. Oh, and if you want to give the metal detector a shot, I have that too. I've never seen him so excited. I'll be sure to let you know if I need either of them, Detective. Now, the magnifying glass is back here. Mr. Singh used the well to construct a contraption that would send him flying from the stage. It made clever use of 2 ropes. That's one heavy weight. Kind of makes you think how much this must all be weighing on Simeon. It does? I'm not sure I quite see it myself. Oh, too bad we don't have the real thing here. Otherwise, I'd hang it around your neck like a big ol' albatross. Then we'll see how you like it. You'd face some stiff resistance if you tried, I can promise you that. This tarp is just like the one we saw in the workshop. This tarp is just like the one we saw in the workshop. Yes, but why is it here? Why is it here? Are you okay, Mr. Edgeworth? You've gone kind of blank. And I intend to stay blank until you stop stealing my thoughts. That's adorable. A pulley and a rope. I suppose the two do tend to go together. They sure do, like a great thief and her treasure. Can't have one without the other. Sorry, but the proper pairing in this case is a great thief and a set of handcuffs. This is the rope that was hanging down the well. But there's no pinata at the end of it. Definitely no bucket. You try to be serious, Kay. Oh, come on, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm just trying to lighten the mood. So cut it out with that stare of yours. Actually, she may be on this. It's the pen that helped Zay, the Asian elephant. Now empty as the lady herself is on stage. I wonder how they got her in here in the first place. What do you mean? Well, the entrance to the yard is people-sized. And there's like a gazillion megawatts pumping through that fence. Kinda risky, no? Not if one turned off the electricity.
Which we know was done for 3 hours.
Ah! Then all the prisoners would escape. Through an entrance blocked by an elephant. Not. This is a real puzzler, alright. I'd need to give it some more thought. She seems to be enjoying the challenge. Alright, first let's see if we have so many of these. And I'm wondering if any of these match. You think all the apples were the pulling force, maybe? I don't see how that would work, but, like...
They'd have to be wrapped in something.
Yeah. I'll just guess it. It might be reaching, but... Yeah, that was a reach. Yeah, let's go to the original. A wicker basket, or rather a cart given the wheels. Hey, wouldn't it be fun to hop in and race it down a hill? Oh, you know what else would be fun? Racing down a hill on office chairs. Where did any of that come from? The store appears to be locked. Want me to open it? Can't guarantee anything. No, if we deem it necessary, we will simply ask for the key. What the? How did I... I don't know if I pressed something by accident or not. Yes, this is where the circus show stage stood. Do you think people would be interested in a great thieving show? I'm sure the police would be very eager to attend. These chairs must have been for the audience. Wow, I pity whoever had to put them all away. Really, why? You clearly never had to fold up a bunch of boring chairs before, huh? Not personally. I've told other people to do it, though. Come on, Mr. Edgeworth, you gotta roll up your sleeves and help out once in a while. I'll consider it. I don't believe there's any more to be found here. Okay, well, in that case, we don't need to do anything. I mean, this, I think, will just be an explainer. Yeah. And it was blocking the power room, too.
Okay.
Now that's one impressive fence. I'm sure I could climb it if I... Please don't, it's electrified. I wonder what's on the other side. The warden's office, I believe. I guess she likes to keep a close eye on her pets. This facility would probably function better as a zoo than a prison. I gotta think it's a puzzle piece. Maybe we need a metal detector to find something, like the pulling.
Right, but I don't know what we're looking for.
Not sure either. Let's look for the pulling force. Well, maybe the apples. Why? I don't know.
Apples aren't making sense.
I know, but maybe it has something to do with the card or something. I just feel weird that we have 5 and none of them would go together. So maybe we should combine the pulling force and the 30-pound weight, because our assumption would be it would be the weight, but we're basically saying that can't happen. So maybe we need to kind of reconcile it? Yeah. Wait, doesn't this seem odd to you? No? You haven't noticed, Detective? There's something strange about the weight we found. How heavy it is.
And how does only one?
The one weight on its own wouldn't be heavy enough. A single 30-pound weight couldn't have lifted Mr. Saint off the ground. Oh yeah. In which case, could there perhaps have be some weights missing? Sounds like a job for my 7 secret weapons, sir. Should the need to use them arise, I suppose I should speak with him then. Oh! Well, I think it just gave it away then. You need to find more weights. Detective, I need one of your secret weapons. Roger. Oh, jeez, I'm never gonna get to use my fishing rod. Okay, before we get started, let me run you through how the metal detector works, sir. It's simple enough. It uses the sound and this gauge to tell you how close you are to something made of metal. The closer you get, the more strongly it'll react. When it starts going wild like this, just give me the order to examine the spot where I'm standing. I'll say, what do we have here? Oh, the fence. Anyway, that's how it all works. You tell me where you want me to look, sir, and I'll get you right on it. I got something. There's something here, sir. Ooh, it's a gold coin, sir. What a find. It'll go down in history. I don't imagine a gold coin would stay hidden long in a prison yard. Oh, you found it! Never would have guessed it was hiding here this whole time. That's one of the coins from the big coin hunt we hold once every 2 weeks.
Summer camp and not prison. Are you getting me here?
Yeah. Seems like a great place, actually. Like in a manner of speaking. He even said, is this a prison or a playground? Oh, look at that.
You go there because you do bad things. I'm not hindering people from physical activity, but come on. Some regular people just go to circus.
Guess I must have just picked up some iron sand. Iron sand, as in sand you can pick up with a magnet? That's the stuff. You can find it at the beach sometimes. And I got just the thing we need here. Introducing secret weapon number 6 or 7. Are you making this up as you go along? A seemingly ordinary magnet that I found at the hardware store. Watch this, I just bring it close to the ground and ta-da! It's picking up the iron. Woo! Come on, little guys, come to Papa. It must be nice to be so easily entertained. Regardless, the investigation must continue.
Uh-oh.
Sir, I'm picking up something over here. Let's take a look-see. Huh? Found these little guys in the grass. They're the same as the weight we found by the well. They must be from Mr. Saint's trick. Did someone hide these here on purpose? I count 4 altogether, sir. These should be more than heavy enough to send them flying. So somebody hid several of the same weights as the one by the well. But why, and why over here? Yes, nice work, me. Eek! Alligator. That thing nearly gave me a heart attack. Huh? What's the matter, detective? It's the metal detector, sir. It's a reacting to the alligator. What? How? You're sure it's not responding to the weights we just found? No, sir. I'm sure this is something different, and I'm sure it's coming from the alligator. And she's gone. Ha, we scared that big snapper good. I don't think that's it, Kay. Huh? Then what is it? Allie hasn't been herself lately. That's the name. Allie, the warden's favorite pet. She wouldn't even look at the food Warden Lagarde gave her yesterday. She was acting as if, I don't know, as if maybe she'd eaten something that didn't agree with her. Maybe the metal detector was responding to whatever she ate, sir. Oh no, what if she ate one of the weights? I highly doubt that even an alligator could swallow a 30-pound lump of iron. So what did the metal detector actually pick up? And why would someone hide those weights? Perhaps I missed something when I looked at the equipment by the well. Okay, could you recreate the scene again? Coming right up. Oh, we can deduce something? Oh, maybe that's it then. Is there something that... Why would someone hide those weights? Perhaps I missed something when I looked at the equipment by the well. Okay, so that's it. So there's something here that we're gonna have to deduce somehow. Mr. Saint's trick.
Oh, the cart. And then hit the weight so that they could wrap whatever it was in the cart.
Yeah, because it looks the same. Maybe she'd eaten something that didn't agree with her. Well, so where did these two things go? Maybe this is it? I mean, they might just be behind the stage. Yeah, that's not it. Gonna need some specifics here, Mr. Edgeworth. It's missing something.
Is that a rope?
Oh, you know, you might be right on that.
You have the rope to pull the stake out, but you don't have the rope that connects the top pulley.
There's something missing, either the rope that connects to him or the rope that goes down. Yeah. Think about the two recreations, the one during the performance and the one we're looking at right now. There's a major difference between the two. Namely, the one of the ropes is missing. There we go. Oh yeah, Mr. Saint's trick wouldn't work with only the items we see before us. So what happened? Where did the missing rope go? I think one of the pieces of evidence we've collected might tell us exactly that. Really? What shows us where the missing rope went?
What's that rope down here?
Discovered on top of Knight's body.
Take that!
This rope was found beside Knight's body. Wait, you mean... Yes, it must have been the other rope used in Mr. Saint's trick. So you're saying, yes, that this rope did indeed have a weight attached to it. But it wasn't any of the iron weights we found. Those were hidden in the bushes and replaced with something else. But wasn't Mr. Edgeworth? Come on, I'm dying here. Think about what the rope we found in the workshop was related to. Do that and you'll soon figure out the answer. The weight dropped down the well in place of the iron weight was Mr. Knight's body.
Take that!
It can only have been Knight's body that was dropped down the well. What? Mr. Knight's body was the weight? Yes, somebody first swapped out the weights used for Mr. Saint's trick. Then, Mr. Saint used the contraption to make his exit from the stage. When he left the rope around his body loose, both the rope and Knight's body fell to the bottom of the well. The rope was never used to restrain Knight. It was used to suspend his body halfway down the well. From this we can easily see why most of the weights were hidden, so that no one would realize they'd been replaced with the body. Precisely, we can then further deduce that they were hidden by the killer. Whoa there, gang, wasn't poor old Bronco stabbed in the neck? Wouldn't there be blood everywhere, including down the well? Oh, the killer thought of that, which is why they used this. What did the killer use to stop Knight's blood from going everywhere? Could it have been the tarp?
Take that!
This tarp was found with the body. I think it's likely the knight's corpse was wrapped in it. Ooh, another piece of the puzzle falls into place. It's all coming together now. Love it. But all we're doing here is proving that the body did go down the well, which means we're helping to prove that Simeon was the killer. No, not quite. What about what Judge Gavelle said yesterday? Ah, but if Mr. Saint truly is the killer, why would he need to go to such lengths to commit his crime? That's true. Knight's body fell down the well when Mr. Saint used his contraption during the show. Therefore, it reveals nothing about where the real killer actually was or what they were doing at the time. It's only designed to throw suspicion onto those who were not at the show. Yeah, I guess we did suspect Mr. Canis right away, huh? That was the killer's goal, to make us think the crime took place during the show. In other words, they used the well contraption to construct an alibi. Miss Berry, when exactly did Mr. Saint put his contraption together? It would have been the day before the show, the night before, actually. Yes, we started getting ready for the show at around 9 p.m. And I think we finished at around midnight, in which case the killer must have switched the weights out for the body around that point. Did Canis know about this contraption? Even if he did, he wouldn't have been able to do much with it. And I highly doubt that he taught his dog to suspend bodies halfway down wells. Which means Canis isn't the killer. We still got stuff to do, huh?
So there are apples in the bodies of weight because they must have pushed them out there in the apple bin.
Oh, that's why they needed the bin clear. Oh?
I thought that was a great idea.
I thought it was too. That actually made a lot of sense to me. Okay. Is there anything else we're missing? I think I know who the murderer is. I think it's the warden. I think there's a reason why her coat is so big for some reason.
I've been doing that for a while.
And she also was the one who said, oh, let's wrap it up, it's late, which sometimes people can do that, I think, normally, but some tells me it was her for reasons that we don't know yet. A wicker basket, or rather a cart given the wheels. Yeah, we already did this. Mr. Edgeworth, I think I've cracked the case, sir. What if the killer was an invisible man? Go on! Well, the weapon came out of nowhere, and nobody knows how the body was moved. None of that makes sense until you put an invisible man in the picture. Detective, don't tell me you think invisible people really exist. Who knows, sir, but it'd be fun to see one, though, huh? What a winning idea. Perhaps we should make your assignment to Mr. Winter permanent from tomorrow. You gotta be kidding me, that kid probably still believes in Santa Claus. People in glass houses. Thing is, I would rather the warden not be it because her fox is so cute. But she could have fed the alligator something since she seems to have a thing with the alligator. And I still don't get what she meant when she talked about Carcerado and he knows what's good for her. Like, there's stuff we don't know. This pond is home to Warren Lagarde's beloved alligator. And look, those bones must be from her latest meal. Oh, this is just the same thing we saw earlier. What would the elephant be used for? She didn't eat it, I'm assuming. This is a wild guess. I had no reason behind it. It's just I couldn't see anything that we had to get in the crime scene. The apples in the basket were likely eaten by Zay. Really? That's strange. I made sure to put the card where her trunk couldn't reach them. Are you sure about that? Oh yes, it was still full of apples the night before the show. Then we must consider the possibility that the card was moved to somewhere within Azaya's reach. A large basket full of apples couldn't have been moved by the wind, which likely means somebody moved it for a reason. So before the show had even started, the card had been moved and its apples eaten. Yes, that seems to be the most probable timeline. Let's update the recreation, Kay. There, all done. Little wonder it smelled of animals. It was being used for the elephant. The whole Zay's apples, right? Yep, it was full of them the day before the show. Now they vanished overnight? Or so they vanished overnight? Ooh, did you figure something out, Mr. Edgeworth? Quite possibly. So maybe this is where your theory goes. The basket was moved by someone the night before the show, and it was used to move the body. So I think we just had to get there a little further. The basket was moved the night before the circus performance, and we've deduced that the weights were switched out for the body at around the same time. Hard to chalk that up to coincidence, huh? Then the next question we should be asking is, why was the cart moved? I think I can hazard a guess. The cart would have been blocking the door, which could only mean somebody needed to open it. Now, let's see what's... Oh, great, it's locked. Let me ask a guard for help. Hey, Mr. Guard! Yes, miss, what can I do for you? That was fast. Guard, where's the key for this door? Oh, the warden keeps hold of that. I'll go ask her for it. Warden Lagarde is the only one with a key, meaning if somebody did open the door, they would have had to get it from her somehow. Thanks for the help. Look at all these breakers. They must control the electricity for the whole prison. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. So we're thinking somebody got in here the night before the show, right? But why? What were they trying to do? Well, I doubt they came here by mistake thinking it was a break room. They must have come to tamper with the switches. Did they turn off the power to something? Come to think of it, wasn't there something that lost power? What might have lost power had a breaker been flipped? Yeah, but our cameras even...
Okay. Metal detector. That's plugged in? Okay. There's the thing that.
Due to a 3-hour gap. There was a 3-hour gap in the security camera footage. Oh yeah, there was! So somebody flipped the breaker it was connected to. Seems very likely. Do you think it was the killer? It's true that shutting off the cameras would have made things easier for them. It would! Which means the killer would have to be someone who had access to the breakers, and it seems only one person has the key. It couldn't be, could it? Alright, little thief, your work here is done. Yeah. Hmm? First on the scene, the early bird wins the worm. Good morning, Mr. Winner. What? You? How'd you get here before me? Good morning, Mr. Edgeworth. I see you've made an early start. And I see you've made a late one, Judge Gavelle. This is not my only case. I am a very busy woman. Not all of us enjoy the freedom of a prosecutor relieved of his only current responsibility. Ooh. Oh, I do apologize. I meant, of course, an associate attorney. Associate, more like asinine. We'll see about that. Eustace, let us begin the investigation of the yard. Okay, I'll go get some officers to help. That won't be necessary. Why not? We've already finished investigating the yard and won quite the prize in the process. Won, but I'm supposed to be the winner. Your Honor, I'd like to revisit your theory from yesterday, in order to thoroughly disprove it. I would caution you to choose your words carefully, Mr. Edgeworth, as I am sure you remember your badge is in my hands. How could I forget? You've told me several dozen times already. Perhaps you'd care to try a different threat. You have been warned repeatedly, yes, and each time my words seem to have fallen on deaf ears. Allow me to make this crystal clear. The committee cannot and will not tolerate insubordination. The fate of my badge and the whims of the committee are of no concern to me now. The only thing that concerns me is proving Simeon Saint's innocence. Interesting. I've spoken like a true defense attorney. In that case, I shall be equally uncompromising. In the name of the goddess of justice, I will strike down your case without mercy. And when I am done, your career as a prosecutor will be over as well. I hope you do not come to regret this. My theory remains the same as when I related it to you yesterday. Mr. Carcerado did not see Mr. Knight's body when he passed through the tunnel. As such, the body could have only been dropped down the well during the show. We both know the only one who could have dropped the body down there during the show is Mr. Saint. That's still your assertion, and you can prove it, of course. Of course she can. Who do you think you're up against? What Eustace means to say is that we received the final autopsy report just ahead of our arrival. She really is a very busy woman, busy looking after baby Winter. The victim appears to have died the night before the body was discovered. In other words, the night before the show. The cause of death is as stated. It seems the wound is 4 inches deep. Simeon Saint was off stage for a period of 15 minutes. There was plenty of time for him to throw the victim's body down the well.
Oh, you had to kill him, lug him over there, and rig him up?
Yeah.
In 15 minutes?
And he did it the night before the show. He just came here the night before and did all this? Judge Gabelle hasn't investigated the yard yet, which means, I fear there may be something of a flaw with your theory, Your Honor. You seem very confident of that. But do you have any evidence to prove it? Yes, I think I just might. So let's go through her stuff again. I think it has nothing to do with this. Well, let's start pressing. Isn't it possible that Mr. Carcerado simply failed to notice the body? Assistant to the Associate Attorney, you have been through the secret passage, have you not? Whoa, how'd you know? I noticed mud on you yesterday on that charming key in your hair, to be precise. That's incredible. You could be a great thief with eyes like that. Answer me truthfully in the name of the goddess. Would you or would you not have noticed a body had one been present? Well, I guess I would have. There you have it. Mr. Carcerado did not see a body, which means there was no body there to see. Hold it! Could you talk us through your reasoning on that a little more? The day before the performance, Mr. Knight borrowed the keys from Mr. Carcerado. Or more specifically, the key to his cell. Mr. Knight then used the key to leave his cell and enter Mr. Saint's cage. Mr. Saint took Mr. Knight to the yard in that cage, and that's where he killed him. The following day, Mr. Carcerado crawled his way through the tunnel, but there was no body there yet. Wait a second, that doesn't add up. Mr. Carcerado smelled that sweet smell, so Mr. Knight must have been in the tunnel yesterday. No, his body did not pass through the tunnel until sometime after Mr. Carcerado had crawled through it. Mr. Carcerado used the tunnel right around the time the show was starting. The body was discovered just after the performance ended, from which you deduce that the body could only have been thrown down the well during the show. Yes, and who the culprit must be. Hold it! Are you sure about that? Could nobody else have done it? I understand that Miss Berry was on stage for the entire performance. Most of the prisoners were watching the show, and those who were not have plausible alibis. What about the guards? They too were watching the show, as was the warden. How can you be so sure? A guard could have easily approached the well unnoticed. None of the guards left their post during the show. I have checked this for myself, you know. I took statements from each and every one of them. She's thorough, I'll give her that. Are you finally ready to accept the truth that the killer could only have been Simeon Saint? Judge Cavell hasn't carried out a full investigation of the yard yet, which means we've got the advantage for a change. I should review the evidence we gathered during our investigation of the yard. So let's see. Let's see what we did get. Breakers, were they tampered with? Oh, well, there's only like 2 things we have, the Breakers and Mr. Saint's trick.
Objection!
No. Don't know what I was thinking there. So, we only have 2 things. The Breakers and Mr. Saint's trick. So which one and for which statement? It's this one.
Objection!
Sorry, Your Honor, but there's something else you're going to have to take into account. The well in the yard was rigged up to create a certain unique contraption. A contraption? Go on. You will recall that Mr. Saint was sent flying from the stage by the elephant. I do, just before he was to be absent from some time. He was only able to fly through the air thanks to a weighted rope he tied around himself. Dropping the weighted end down the well allowed him to complete the trick. Wait, wouldn't that send him flying as soon as he set foot on the stage? It's simple, really. He kept the weight from falling by using a stake to keep the rope in place. With a second rope, he was able to pull the stake free, thereby controlling when the weight was dropped. We have found evidence that suggests that the original weight was replaced with Knight's body. This was done by the real killer in order to create an alibi. The estimated time of death tells us that the murder took place early in the morning. The killer could have tampered with the contraption in the time between the murder and the show. You're saying Mr. Saint himself set this contraption up, right? Well then, who do you think is the number 1 most likely person to have used it to dispose of the body? Even you must see how this looks. If Mr. Saint was the killer, he could have simply done as Judge Cavell theorized, without these extra steps. Miss Berry. Yes? Does anyone else know how Mr. Saint's trick works? Well, let's see. We had to get the prison's approval on what we were going to perform, so I don't think Simeon's the only one who knows. And there you have it. Interesting. You have certainly been diligent in your investigation, and yet I fail to comprehend your actions still. Why do you not work to do what is right? Is what I am doing wrong? If so, who is it that deems it so? How can you not grasp even that? How can you not see that you are doing wrong at this very moment? You are a prosecutor, and yet you aid the defense. This flies in the face of common sense. You are breaking every rule in the book. I think only of what is right and just, and act as I see fit in each situation I am confronted with. This is the path I have chosen, and whether you can comprehend that choice is immaterial. But if you mean to stand in my way, I will fight back with all I can bring to bear. Perhaps the goddess of justice is testing me. Very well, if it is her will that we must fight, then I shall end this once and for all. Listen well, Mr. Edgeworth, for there is another reason why only Mr. Saint can be the killer. If the body was moved from the yard to the workshop, then Mr. Knight must have first been brought here to the yard from his site. The only person who had the opportunity to do that is Simeon Saint, and thus he remains the only plausible suspect. Mr. Saint took a cage with him to Knight's cell, but why would he do that? Why take such an unwieldy object all the way to the holding cells? Yeah, it is pretty sus. But we've all met Mr. Saint. That's exactly the kind of thing he would do. It's entirely plausible that he took the cage with him out of absent-mindedness and nothing else. It may be plausible, but it is no more or less plausible than him having helped Mr. Knight to escape. Alright, I need some real solid evidence if I'm going to get her to budge. Was there really no other way he could have come here? Mr. Knight was awaiting trial. If he, a random non-inmate, had openly entered the prison proper, he surely would have been notified. And presumably, none of your witnesses have testified to having seen such a thing. Precisely. Praise be to the goddess of justice for granting you this insight. So, as you will agree, it can only be that Mr. Knight was brought over here in secret. You're certain nobody else had the opportunity. Need I remind you that we are in a prison. The entire facility is monitored at all times. Anything out of the ordinary would have been spotted. But Mr. Saint was under that same scrutiny, was he not? The warden had granted the members of the circus troupe special access. As a member of that troupe under the supervision of Miss Berry, he is the only person who is free to wander where he willed. It seems you've forgotten something, Your Honor. Forget is not a word in my vocabulary, Mr. Edgeworth. Very well, then recall this fact, if you will. You claim that Mr. Saint is the only person who was free to walk around the prison. But there was a brief period of time on the day of the crime in this prison. A time when it would have been possible for anyone to move through the prison entirely unmonitored. Ah. Security footage? Take that! Mr. Saint is far from the only one who had the opportunity. Which opportunity are we talking about here? We previously established the time code on the security footage was off by 3 hours. And from this we can deduce that there must have been a power outage lasting for that length of time, during which anyone could have moved around the prison undetected. Do you mean to say that our killer intentionally created this 3-hour gap? That it was no simple camera malfunction? Is that even possible? It is completely possible to create the 3-hour gap using this. Take that! Our investigation of the yard turned up something rather interesting. A panel of breakers, one which can be used to cut the power to the security cameras. We also learned that the door to the power room may have been open at around the time of the murder. What? Such a shame to see one so capable fall so short of the mark. Mr. Edgeworth knows what he's doing. Ha ha ha. Then how does he explain the lock on the power room door? Oh yeah, it was kind of locked up tight. And the warden's the only one with the key. Those breakers are vital to the prison's infrastructure. So I very much doubt that anyone could have gained access to the power room's key so easily. No, but one person could have. I beg your pardon? That person, the killer, had easy access to it, in fact. And what's more, their position here is such that nobody would dare question them. What? There's no one like that. The breaker to the electric fence is in there. They would be questioned in an instant. There's only one person who meets these criteria. I can hardly believe it myself, but I have to follow where the logic leads. Here we go, then. Take that! The real culprit is... Warden Lagarde. Oh, just look at you. Aren't you the cutest little poochie-woo? He's not just a pretty face. Missile also has quite the nose for sweet things. It seems he's smelling something very sweet indeed, and it's coming from you. Oh, darling, you're making me blush. I'm not even wearing perfume. Then perhaps it is the sweet stench of death. You're a regular poet, aren't you? I had no idea. But if I didn't know better, I'd almost think you were calling moi the killer. That is precisely what I'm calling you. What? Warden Lagarde is the killer? Mr. Edgeworth, do you realize what you're saying? Oh ho ho, such a naughty boy. How could he suspect me? I'm the one in charge around here. It's like we're in a murder mystery, aren't we? And equally far-fetched. This is preposterous. Sadly, it is not, although I can hardly believe it myself. But this is where the evidence points, and we must trust in the evidence. This piece of evidence proves that Warden Lagarde is the killer. Is it the Breakers because he's the only one who can access them?
Take that!
That's what I think. Or not. Maybe it's all that sweet stuff they're talking about. Oh, it's the sweet scent. Your scent betrays you, Warden. And here is your accuser. The police dog? We had him track a sweet scent that was lingering around Knight's body back when it was first found. He now appears to be smelling the same scent, and it's coming from you. Oh ho ho, darling, you're priceless, really you are. Your evidence is a whiff of suspicion? Verity, dear, do put him in his place. It seems Judge Gavelle may have reached a similar conclusion to myself. You believe this to be no mere coincidence, Mr. Edgeworth? I do. After all, she had the key and the scent found lingering on the body is hers as well. Were it just one or the other, we might be able to brush it off as coincidence. However... Indeed, then it seems a conclusion approaches. Perhaps we should hear what the Warden has to say for herself. We should, and when we have, this case will finally be at an end. You're all being simply awful. Stop looking at me like that. Me the killer? How could I possibly do such a thing? Here we go. I didn't do it. Verity told me everything she knows about the case, sweetie. The victim died in his cell, so by your logic would have had to have killed him there. But how am I supposed to have moved the body, especially as I never went into the prison? I was too busy with work, you see. I was cooped up in my office until right before the show began. Check if you like, you won't find a record anywhere of my having entered or left the prison proper. I haven't the first idea what harebrained theories you little scamps have cooked up, but I'm innocent. There's simply no way I could be the killer. Give me a break, Missile doesn't lie. Don't make it hard on everyone, just come clean. Oh dear, I'm afraid you were the one making things difficult. As I just said, I never went into the prison. If you think I'm lying, go and check the records. She clearly wants us to check those records, which means they won't help us. We'll just have to find another way of getting the truth out of her. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, stop being a big silly. You've made a boo-boo and you know it. That fox, though.
Hold it!
The murder took place in a cell. You seem very happy to accept that. And why shouldn't I be? It seems the most likely place for it to have happened without drawing attention. And besides, they found Knight's blood in his cell. Yes, but that was from being struck by Mr. Carcerado. Oh, I needn't tell her that, I suppose. I take it there's also been no testimony to the contrary? What does it matter? Knight being killed in his cell doesn't go against any of the facts anyway. But how am I supposed to have moved the body, especially as I never been to prison?
Hold it!
Do you have any evidence that you didn't enter the prison? Please, darling, let me finish.
Hold it!
So you were in your office the whole time, and you didn't notice anything unusual? No, I can't say that I did. And you didn't notice anything missing? I must confess I'm a rather messy girl. And a forgetful one at that. I put something down and it's lost forever. It's a curse, darling, a curse. I even lost some important evidence recently. It was gone, poof, just like that. Wow. What? And she still has a job? Honestly, if somebody came into my office and took something, it might be years before I noticed. It seems like I'll need more than the power room key to expose her. On the day of the murder, I was working in my office. Oh, and looking for something I'd misplaced. Even if I'd had a reason to go into the prison, I simply wouldn't have had the time.
Hold it!
Sure, maybe you didn't go through the main entrance to the prison, but what if you took another route? Oh, come now, sweetie. Surely you don't mean that awful filthy tunnel they discovered. Why, until yesterday I had no idea it even existed. No, you had another way in, I'm certain of it. A route that didn't require going through the main entrance or the tunnel. The route you took went through this location. Through the main entrance or the tunnel. I guess the connecting corridor, perhaps? Well, no, I mean, the... So, you won't find a record anywhere of my having entered or left the prison proper. What if you took another route? No, you had another way in, I'm certain of it. A route that didn't require going through the main entrance or the tunnel. The route you took went through this location.
The yard?
Is it the yard?
Take that!
Through the fence? Warden, you took Knight from his cell and brought him to your office, which just happens to be connected to the yard. If you had a way through the fence, then you would have been able to circumvent both the entrance and the tunnel. Hee hee, a gold star for creativity, darling. And how would I have gotten through the fence? The extremely high fence, topped with razor wire, with thousands of volts of electricity going through it. Yeah, how's she supposed to have gone through that? The fence's electricity supply can be cut off from the power room, and only you had the key, Warden. No one but you could have done it. Utterly ridiculous. The power room is on the prison side of the yard. Warden Lagarde was on the detention center side. How would she have even reached the power room? Exactly, Verity, darling. Well, clever puss, you've dug yourself a real hole now. If there is no record of Warden Lagarde having entered the prison proper, then the idea that she could have shut off the fence by using the breaker is out of the question. Oh, but there must be some way she could have done it. Take a deep breath, big guy. Lose your cool and you've lost everything. But if I don't find a solution, she might still wriggle out of this. Hey, I said take a deep breath, not freak out and completely lose your cool. There's nothing to be gained by banging your head against the same wall, yeah? No matter how you look at it, Warden Lagarde couldn't have done it alone. Mr. Edgeworth, if you cannot find a... You aren't doing yourself any favors by obstructing justice with your silence. That was a reflexive objection. But now that I've yelled it, if I don't come up with an answer, it's all over. I have one more thing to add, if you'll permit me. Something that explains how the warden could have shut off the breaker from the wrong side of the fence. Yes, because it's not as impossible as it seems. What enabled her to shut off the breaker was an accomplice. She couldn't have done it alone. But what if she wasn't alone? Ooh, now we're talking. Way to flex the old gray matter, kiddo. I believe that Warden Lagarde had an accomplice. Enough, you disappoint me, Mr. Edgeworth. What do you mean? Mr. Edgeworth has said nothing wrong. The inmates of this prison are all issued with security bracelets. The ones that raise the alarm if people go where they're not supposed to. Ah! I see that you have realized your error, and we are, of course, within the prison grounds, where not only are the bracelets worn, but even the guards surveil each other for signs of wrongdoing. And despite all that, no one noticed Mr. Carcerato's escape. The only ones who are free to roam are the animals. And they most certainly could not have operated the breaker. No, so our accomplice must be human. Then who did it, given that it cannot have been a prisoner or a guard? I wouldn't be so quick to rule out either, Your Honor. The fact is, there is one person, someone whose movements weren't restricted.
Saw it.
I have just the evidence to show who the... It was Saw, because his bracelet wasn't working.
Take that!
This is one of the prisoner's bracelets. Indeed, a broken bracelet belonging to a certain self-proclaimed model prisoner. What do you mean? And who is this prisoner? Frank saw it. Warren Lagarde's favorite inmate, the one who knows what's good for him.
Ooh, she's sitting there.
Look at the fox licking the tears. It's like Cartman. Oh, the tears of unfathomable sadness. It's strange, isn't it, Warden, that he was able to keep his broken bracelet hidden and wander freely around the prison all the while. That is pretty funky, and I don't mean it in a good way. It couldn't be the case that he was permitted some sort of special leeway, could it? Although you are in the habit of giving such leeway to certain others, Butthead Karmakanis, for example. Mr. Edgeworth, this is pure speculation. In that case, why don't we ask Mr. Sod himself? I'm confident he will confirm for us that he and Warden Lagarde were accomplices in this crime. If the two of them had worked together, a certain route into the prison becomes viable. The real route by which Knight was moved from his cell to the prison proper. Recall that there were two big obstacles in her path. First, the security camera outside Knight's cell. Second, the electrified fence in the yard. But she was able to remove both obstacles in one fell swoop. The Nate... Oh, how do you pronounce his last name again? His one fell swoop bit with his wife was amazing. Alright, Mr. Edgeworth, you've had your fun. Also curious, too. How old is he again? Eddie Fender is 36. He's calling me kiddo. I guess I'm in my 20s still? She's 37. Regina, 17. We got 3 17-year-olds. And do you still deny it, Warden Lagarde? No, darling, you've got me, I admit it. Warden? Tell me this isn't true. Sorry, Verity, honey, I'm afraid it is. Frankie helped me do it. No way! You didn't, Mr. Edgeworth, you got her. Oh, but she's gonna say, I didn't mean the murder, I meant... Nice shooting, cowboy, she won't be wriggling out of this one now. As Mr. Edgeworth said, I had Frankie switch off the breaker. But we didn't kill Knight, did we? No, sweetums, no we didn't. What? Warden, explain yourself. Oh, Verity, dear, I doubt your precious goddess will want to hear my excuses now. She is all merciful. You have but to confess and you shall be saved. Oh gosh, all right. I was being threatened. I had no choice but to do as he said. You see, Butthead Karmakanis, that awful assassin. Kanis? How long has it been since that awful man came here to my beautiful prison? I'll never forget the day he arrived. The moment we were alone, he said this to me. You should know that I have other dogs, dogs not confined to this fine institution. Others? Yes, very loyal dogs, dogs who will do anything I ask of them. Of course, he wasn't talking about real dogs. He was talking about his very human cronies. And then he said one last thing. I would recommend that you take care in how you treat me during my stay here. I wouldn't want to have to send my dogs on you or your precious family. I had no choice. I gave him that cell, I gave him everything he asked for. Everything? Wait, is that how he became the Fixer? Yes, darling, I obeyed his every command and smuggled in for him all that he wanted. Eventually, I brought dear sweet Frankie into our little conspiracy. He agreed right away, of course, because I made things easier for him too. So you were smuggling in contraband, how exactly? Once a week, late at night, Frankie would shut off the breakers. That allowed me to go from my office into the yard without being seen by the cameras. Then I simply dropped the packages down the well on the prison side and went back to the fence. Each one of them spritzed with a little of my perfume. So that's what that sweet smell was. Yes, it was a signal for Canis's dog. When he picked up the scent, he would fetch the packages and bring them back to his master. We had to make sure Rocco wasn't in his cell at the time, of course. Can't have been easy keeping him from finding out. Oh, we're all very much creatures of habit here at the prison, darling. Everything runs to a schedule. Meals, exercise hours, that sort of thing. We knew when he wasn't there. That adorable little bear of his freezes with fright at the sight of Canis's dog, poor thing. So there was no risk of him raising the alarm either. She has oversight over everything here at the prison, which made her the perfect mule. With her on his side, Canis couldn't fail. Frankie would sneak out again early in the morning to switch the breakers back on, and our work was done. Apart from fixing the time codes on the cameras, which I would do later when I got the chance. You have shared a great deal, Warden. The Goddess of Justice will surely take your honesty into account. I've been the most dreadful fool, I know I have. I'm supposed to be the one in charge. The day of Knight's murder was also one of our delivery days. And so Frankie, bless his heart, did his usual work with the breakers. But there was no package for me to deliver that day, so I didn't go out into the yard. So that's the secret behind the fixture system, and why she was... At least I've been trying to track down this conversation for the longest time. That's why you were interrogating Mr. Canis over and over. Exactly, I was trying to track down those horrible henchpeople of his. Oh, that's a different face. Aw, the fox is so mad. I borrowed everything the police had on that rotten scoundrel. I watched his every move, intercepted every letter he wrote. His letters? Then I suppose she must know about his correspondence chess games, too. But no matter what I did, I couldn't turn up any clues as to who his underlings were. Living in fear like this, oh, you just can't comprehend it. As you have just heard for yourself, Mr. Edgeworth, the words of Warden Lagarde's confessions have cleansed her of all suspicion. Surely there is no need to hound her any longer. Has she really been cleared of all suspicion, though? Or is there more about her to uncover? There's definitely more. I mean, I would love it if she was on the level and she was just doing this because she felt threatened, but Plus, the fox is so cute. And I think the Goddess of Justice would agree. So you mean to make her suffer even more than she already has? Unfortunately, her suffering under Mr. Canis has nothing to prove her innocence in Knight's murder. She admitted herself that she knew of and even facilitated the so-called fixture's delivery route. I believe she used that same route to move Knight's body. And where is your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth? It's in the fact that the sweet smell on Knight's body is the exact same scent Warden Lagarde used to signal delivery. What do you make of that? Well, that's because we've done it so many times by now that the whole well probably smells of it. Some of it might have just rubbed off on his body. That does match the statement that Mr. Carcerado provided. His words would seem to suggest that the smell had permeated the well. You've been rendered speechless, I see. Then I hereby move to adjourn this session of the court. No, what do we do, Mr. Edgeworth? What can I do? Is this as far as we go? Finally, so we're actually done. Yes, Eustace, it seems we are. By the power vested in me, this court is adjourned. What is it, Fender? Who was that? Come on, Judge G, things were just getting good. Fender, are you objecting to my adjourning this session? Heh no, would have shouted objection if I wanted to do that. You do you, G. Adjourn, don't adjourn, whatever floats your boat. What are you doing, Mr. Fender? Don't worry about what I'm doing. Let's just all take a chill pill, shall we? By which I mean a square of chocolatey goodness. Anyone? Are you trying to get yourself charged with contempt of court? No, my bad. I just had a quick request to make us all. A Simeon Saint's lawyer, that is. Ah, yes, I had forgotten that you are his real attorney, Mr. Fender. How could you? You're killing me here. Can you blame us? You've been making Mr. Edgeworth do everything the whole time. Right you are, which is why I figured it's time to put in some work. Work, you say? Somehow I don't believe you've worked a day on your life. Then let's say this is me doing some prep work for the upcoming trial. Mind if I question the witness? Now? Amusing, but what is there left to ask? I've got a feeling in my funny bone that Fiefs here has something more to tell us about the killer. Do I? Yes, indeed. See, as a major player on Team Simeon, I can spot a sympathizer when I see one. And you don't think he did it, do you? So tell us who did. Come on, spill the beans, we're all ears. Mr. Edgeworth, what's he doing? He's trying to coax Warden Lagarde into giving something away. Ask yourself, why would she go through all the trouble of sending Knight's body on such an odd journey? It's all because she wanted to frame Mr. Connus. She did? No way. If he was convicted of committing murder here, that could have been grounds for a transfer to another prison. Or most likely a more secure facility. And where he'd be out of her hair forever, huh? Precisely, she saw her opportunity and seized it. This is interesting, actually. No, Saint can't not be the killer.
Because he put the perfume on his body, because that was the signal to the dog, and even Canis said, the next thing I knew, the dog was dragging this body up to the hole.
Right. So I could see him possibly threatening her for real, and her framing him, but would she have killed to frame him? That I'm curious about. But maybe we should first find out what she thinks first. Don't want to get the wrong guy, yeah? Now Mr. Winter has to go along with it too. Well, Warden, are you happy to testify further? Of course. How could I refuse this silver-tongued devil? Eddykins, you have such a way with words. Just doing my job, thief. Besides, one can't tell the truth without telling the whole truth, can one? I'm simply dying to tell all verity, darling. Do say you'll let me. As you wish. Court is unadjourned. So wait, she's Verity? Yeah, Verity Gavel. Okay. I can't believe you pulled that off, Mr. Fender. Phew, me either. Thank you for the timely intervention. It's the least I could do. Kay's not wrong. I've been leaning on you hard, and besides, the defense never rests, am I right? Simeon's depending on us. Sadly, I think I just about exhausted my reserves of cool lawyer chat there, and we can't foul this up now. Which means you're up to bat, Miles McSmiles. Show him that never rest spirit. I shall. You're able to keep going a little bit? No? You can't keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so I should save it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, it was getting good. Confrontation, Fifi Lagarde, Part 2. So I guess next time we'll find out everything. But maybe she did kill him to frame Connus and get him transferred. That would be very interesting, because that would be motive.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Until next